So in this section, we're going to talk about choosing a destination and some choices you'll have. So deciding that living overseas is right for you is the first step. And it's a long process though, so that's only the first step. And there is no way to overstate the importance of choosing your destination well. This decision is going to impact your life for a very long time and probably for the rest of your life. So choose carefully. You need to check your priorities and compare the options available. Some countries make the process of moving there easier, while others make it nearly impossible. If you choose a country with difficult immigration process, you can expect to spend a lot of time and possibly a lot of money, like on attorneys, making your dream a reality. What are your priorities when it comes to choosing a destination? You want something that's completely different from the United States or your native country, or do you want something that feels familiar, at least to some degree? Are you willing to spend a lot of money to make your move, or would you prefer not to? Let's look at some of the most common priorities to consider when choosing a country. Language is a big consideration. For me, this is the hardest one. If you're already fluent, say, in French or Spanish, then relocating to Spain or France might be perfectly suitable for you. However, if you speak only English, it's important that you think about your aptitude in languages and how willing you are to learn, or how easy it's going to be to learn. While it is true that many countries use English as an alternate language, you cannot move to a country where the primary language is Spanish and expect the people who live there to accommodate you. It's just not going to happen. In fact, it'll create some resentment. It's your job to assimilate as much as you can with the language and the culture. Of course, there are many English-speaking countries to consider. You can include, consider UK, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Belize. There's parts of the Caribbean, South Africa, Australia. I'm sure there's plenty of others. They might prove to be the right fit for you if you don't want to deal with learning another language. Taxes will also be important, and they tend to be an especially big concern for people nearing or at retirement age. You need to check out each country's laws to make sure you understand how their tax system works, especially if you want to work there or start a business. If you are an American citizen, you will have to submit U.S. tax returns no matter where you live. So you definitely want to check out tax treaties that the United States has with whatever country you're interested in, because if it doesn't have a tax treaty with the United States, you will end up paying taxes potentially in both countries. You'll be double taxed. So definitely look into that. It's a serious consideration. The cost of living is another consideration that may affect your decision. Some countries are much more expensive than others, obviously, but the countries with the higher costs or cost of living tend to have better amenities and services. Only you can decide how big a trade-off you're willing to make to save money. There's no question that affordable health care, high quality health care, is an important issue for many people. So European countries are great because they have socialized medicine, and in fact most Western countries have socialized medicine. The United States is the only one that doesn't. So choosing one of them may be a good option if you know you will need ongoing health care for a chronic condition, or you just want to be prepared for the future. Keep in mind that if you're retired and you're American, Medicare does not cover you while you are living abroad. It will not help you one bit. Medicare does not travel. So be clear about that as you make your plans. Not every country has a stable system of politics either, or even a good process for peaceful transfer of power. Moving to a place that is politically volatile or dangerous is something that might be okay for a handful of people, but certainly not for most. It doesn't matter how much a country fascinates you. If it's teetering on the brink of civil war, it's best to try to go somewhere else. Although this truly is a difficult thing to predict, because, for instance, for decades Americans have been retiring to Mexico. Mostly Mexico and other South and Central American countries, and they've lived there in relative safety. Recent years, however, brought the expansion and increased power of the Mexican drug cartels, making parts of Mexico less attractive for American retirees. Ecuador offers wonderful and attractive retiree benefits and very easy residency, but in the past couple of years, the Ecuadorian president has begun cracking down on free speech and on the press, and selling some of its rainforests to China for oil exploration. So what may seem like paradise today may not look like paradise tomorrow. So when you are planning to take up residence in a new country, there are important legal considerations to consider as well. The first are the requirements for moving there. Virtually all countries, even those that are close to the United States, require a visa for long-term entry into the country. After that, if you plan on staying and working, you'll need to apply for work permit and permanent residency. The weather. Yes, weather comes up again. The weather in your potential destination may also have an effect on your choice. Do you want some place that's temperate, warm, and sunny? Or do you like the cold and you like winter skiing all the time? So those things will play a role in your decision and where you want to live. Finally, culture is a determining factor for some people who move overseas. Are you eager to explore architectural ruins and small villages, or do you prefer modern cities and museums? This is a personal choice, of course, but it's an important one. The culture in which you live has a huge impact on your quality of life and your happiness, so you want to choose wisely. As you can see, there are many considerations to take into account. Some other things you may want to ponder are public transportation, food, proximity to friends and family, the cost of living, education, crime rates, real estate values and prices. So there are some countries that make moving there easier and more straightforward, so I'm going to talk about those next.